worked
Good
out.
morning.
You
Fine,
okay?
thank you. Very
You
well.
willing to sit next to her?
Always.
Did she hurt you or injured you or
Not
scared you
at
in any
all.
way? Okay, good.
Blink twice if you're in danger.
Don't
I'm good.
spread my
I'm good.
How are
reputation.
you? Good to see you. Yeah, thank y'all for serving, man. This is good.
Absolutely.
I really enjoy it when Raylan can get feedback from y'all and we package all of that up and then we're presenting that stuff to city council. So a lot of that back and forth is working out really well.
Good.
We've had lots of that.
Well, good. Yeah,
Lots of
yeah, no,
back and forth.
is excellent, man. Yeah, that's good. Thank y'all. How are you? You doing okay? You all right?
Hi, Jamie McFadden.
You well? Good. What brings you today? Well, great. Awesome. That's what it's all about. You know, there's a little sign-up form because what happens during these meetings is, let's see if it's on here correctly. When you get there, we got it. Okay. Awesome. Very good. Yeah. Sorry, Lucas is going to throw me out. On a smaller meeting.
I'm about to give you the stink eye.
You had about 3 seconds.
All right. I'd like to officially call to order this Park and Downtown Improvement Corporation meeting. We'll begin by Hillary Heisel leading our invocation. If you'll join us in prayer.
If everybody would just stand, we'll do the pledges after the prayer. Lord, we just pause in this moment to honor you with our time, to honor you with our thoughts. We ask that these resources that you have provided, because Lord, we know it all comes from you and it all goes back to you. We ask that we would be good stewards of these resources. We ask that you give us a vision, your vision for the future of Terrell. We just ask in this moment that you would just guide our decisions and be present in the room as we make them, Lord. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. If you'll please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right. At this time, we have room on our agenda to hear remarks from visitors. Come on up. We never have visitors. We're excited that you're here. We just don't know how to do this formally. Welcome.
So morning hours aren't my jam.
I'm with you.
So it's hard. Good morning. My name is Jane McFadden. I own the music shop at Terrell and the Terrell Music Academy. And we have just recently, within the last few weeks, relocated to downtown. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful. But I wanted to just share a little bit because I did find out, I've been in business over 18 years, brick and mortar. And I don't make moves or anything for my businesses. I don't make decisions lightly. And I did find out yesterday that another coffee shop is going to be moving in next to us, just a few doors up. And Terrell Coffee Company, which has already been established, if we had moved, we'd already be open. Along with music, coffee is our love language. I mean, craft coffee. It's different than Starbucks or anything else, and we really wanted to bring that love with our music to Terrell. We are part of this community, and we want to share that love and that passion. And to be honest, I'm a little bit, when I found out totally by chance that another coffee bar is coming in a few doors away from us, I then have to pivot and say, okay, Lord, what's going on? Like, do we still take this step? Do we open with a direct competition a few miles up? As any business people know, I wouldn't have opened a music store with a music store a few doors up downtown. And as you guys have to know. So I'm just here saying like, hey, you have helped us because you have recruited us downtown, and it has been awesome. And I think the future of Terrell and the future of downtown has nowhere to go but up. It's gonna be really cool. But for us as a business, I have to say, I'm not sure what's going on. Now, I understand that more business means more business and more people. But like with Christy at the bakehouse, it'd be like putting another bakery just a few doors up from her. We would sell the same thing. I saw what they're going to be putting in with the same high-end espresso machines and grinders and everything being made by hand. So let me just say that the last 24 hours have been tough to have to rethink everything we did because we moved downtown to be able to see our vision with music, the Music Academy, and coffee. And specifically that place because it's one place, but it's joined, so it's like two. I just wanted to share that as we move forward. I don't know if there's another option for the other coffee bar that's coming a few doors up for them to do in the mornings, but I don't know that they would have our passion for this city, our passion for coffee, and our passion to help people. It's not about the money. Lord, small business owners, we know it's not about the money. It's about the love of what we do. So just wanted to share that. And thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for sharing your heart and your comments and for coming at 8 o'clock on a Friday morning. All right, this time I'd ask our board to review the minutes from our July 14th, 2023 meeting. After you've had a moment to do so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. We have some new business to discuss, beginning with the Downtown Revitalization Program, the guidelines and application that Raylan's been working on.
So if you'll notice, obviously you have nothing in your packet for this item. I've reached out to Kaufman EDC. I also have met with Garland, Rowlett, and Fate, some of the most recent downtowns that have been revitalized and what types of grants are they putting in. So I just wanted to briefly say what I would like to do is share out some of those applications that I've received from other cities. So what I want to do is send those to y'all today. And I would just ask that you kind of review, because I think the consensus is still basically what we've been doing, which is the $25,000 maximum. But there's some other guidelines in there, and there's a more extensive list of items that will apply. And I think that will help in making future decisions if we have a real list of what types of items you want to give grants for. So I've taken some notes for some of your past grants, and what I'm trying to do is kind of envelope an idea that it would help in our office if there was a strict guideline of what the process was going to be. So I will be sharing with you some of those examples, and then I'll also send out a draft of what I'm proposing. And because we want to be very intentional about our time with Paddock, I'll bring this to y'all next month, and we'll discuss it more and kind of get into the weeds of it next month.
Thank you. As I recall, it was our goal to be consistent across the board. This will help guide us towards that goal. And I know initially when we started 3 years ago, we talked about only contributing to the facades of buildings, but things have evolved, and we don't want the inside of the buildings to fall down while the outside stands. So we're starting to look at interior contributions as well. I think we're going to see some of that in this
Yeah.
application.
For sure. Uh-huh.
Next on the agenda, we are to discuss and consider grant reimbursement request for 115 Westmore Avenue. Raylan?
So what you have before you is just an overview of the proposed marketing art gallery as well as coffee and wine bar that is proposed at 115 West Moore. They have listed some items. They will be doing some minor renovations, but obviously that building has been completely reconstructed from the inside out. And so there's not anything as far as facade. Most everything that they will need building-wise is within that area. But I did want to bring you the concept of the business and just ask if you wanted to contribute any funds to the opening of this business.
So as I understand it, the business is multifunction.
Yes.
I mean, I see coffee shop, wine bar, gallery, event space. There's more. What am I missing? Their graphic studio. Yes.
So they will also do photography. What they currently have now is kind of marketing pieces. They design large boards. They do a lot of artwork. So essentially their office space will also be moving into this building. So it will be more of a display of some of the work that they've done. Also, they bring in professional photographers and models for some of their marketing pieces. So that's why you see some of that building being broken up between some prep areas, and then you would have where they talk about kitchen and storage. What they're looking at doing is light snacks and breads and wine and coffee as far as the food being served.
Raylan, and I could have overlooked it because the packet was pretty overwhelming. Capacity, like they talked about event space, what would be the capacity?
The event space, because what they would do is rent out the entire bottom floor, so they've calculated between 100 and 150.
Okay.
Yeah, so there would be times that that entire building would be dedicated to an event or a weekend, some types of reception space as well. They recognize the need for us to have large meeting spaces, and they're hoping to also work that within their business plan. So all of the tables, everything that you see there in the front will of course be portable, and they'll be able to be stored in the back, and then you can bring in tables and chairs for receptions.
What is the ask from them?
So what they did is they put together a list of their food service appliances. They also are going to have expenses for the movable walls. And this is really an introduction to the business itself. And if I could get any feedback from you as far as if there are pieces of this that would be reimbursable by Paddock, just me being able to kind of express to them your desire to participate, then we could come together with a formal request next month.
So my heartburn at the list in front of us is that these are fixtures.
Right.
And we are tasked with capital improvement. So things like signage, things like interior, like build-outs that are gonna be affixed to the building permanently, I'm in support of, but I think these kind of smaller movable appliances in particular isn't really within our mission. So but I think that there are multiple ways that we can approach this. I don't know, since the Pinas are here, I don't know if that looks like potentially reimbursing for some of the overhead, and then we talk about a rent control agreement. Like,
Right.
I don't know which way we need to do it, but I think our money needs to go towards the capital fixtures of the actual building, not the business in particular.
Absolutely. And so what they did is they put together this rendition of the interior of the building, because I wanted to definitely introduce this business concept to you and kind of keep you in the loop of the conversations that we've had. They are still working, this obviously was the list that he created of what he knew he would need within the kitchen, but they are working on quotes they're getting design prints for their signage and some other things. And so I'll be bringing a more detailed list of possible construction cost later. But this is just a first glimpse to kind of let you know the activity that's going on.
Have they said what their, I realize if you rent out space, that could be extended hours, but do you know what their normal hours are going to be during the day?
They have not established
Sunday.
that. Mm-hmm.
I know Imaginary Lines has been in Terrell for a number of years. They've done, what's the professional word for free? Pro bono.
Sure, yes.
Pro bono work for a number of the local nonprofits. And, I don't even know where they're located currently, but
Currently, they're in what looks like a big storage facility actually over there on Delphine. So they've got 2 or 3 locations that they're finally bringing all of their things into one building, which is great.
kudos to them for coming up with a concept that could potentially be open early morning to late night.
Yeah.
I continue to be downtrodden that our downtown is dark
Yes.
after 5 o'clock.
Yes, the real push with the conversations that I've had with them is the idea of the wine and snacks and breads in the evening, because they do work naturally late into the night, and so they just thought that this was a good concept so that they could keep the front portion of the building open while they're working anyway, so.
Any other thoughts or feedback for Raylan to share?
I agree totally with Hillary. You know, I couldn't in good conscience
Right.
offer anything up on what they've presented financially.
Yeah.
Because when they leave, they'll take it all with them.
Absolutely.
And
And I think they'll understand.
what's your idea, Louis?
No, I just had a little idea that, you know, why don't you maybe propose to give them a loan and then pay back within a certain amount of time, and then that might, not affect your guidelines,
I'd like to see more of their plan.
Yes. Yeah, this is definitely just scratching the surface. They're still negotiating lease, but once we have all of the details, I will definitely be bringing this back to you. It's just exciting whenever we can
It is
share
exciting.
the work that is happening. That's it. No.
This time, we'll discuss and consider the FY 2023 downtown capital project expenditures.
So just to give you an update, obviously, we have seen this multiple times, just kind of where we are at. My projections for 2023 is that we're going to end up at a little less than half on your facade reimbursements. You've approved the park capital improvements. We did an extensive downtown capital improvements, looking at the downtown assessment and the rooftop lighting project. The next few slides, which are very dear to Allison and mine's heart, and maybe some of you too, is Allison and I in the chamber have been meeting on how can we bring back the community tree lighting. And so the city has some money in its budget for Christmas, and we were looking at the expense of a real tree, or a real artificial tree, downtown, but one that would like absolutely make a statement. So we're proposing the corner lot there at Rockwall and Moore. We would be able to do, obviously, the displays that we have slowly gathered over time. And the request is whether this be a cost share with the city, or if I took this also to TERS to see if they want to participate, if you would want to put any of the paddock funds towards the capital expense of a large Christmas tree for downtown. So these have about a 10 or 15-year life. And so we're just trying to put together a budget based on what we know we have in the city budget to go ahead and have this be one of our expenditures for this year.
We're looking at a pretty wide range of cost here.
Yes.
Do you all have a suggestion about?
So we think that the size of the lot, that definitely you wouldn't want to go any smaller than the 26-foot. We think that the 30-foot would be ideal for that space. especially considering, you know, the size of the chair and the sleigh and everything that would be around it. So the 30-foot is what we're actually looking at.
That's a real tree?
No, it is artificial. And then you have the lighting package with it. So it would be an artificial tree, and like I said, they estimate 10 to 15 years worth of use on the trees.
Raylan, can you rent this type of tree, and like what's the yearly cost of renting versus buying?
Renting is about $12,000 to $15,000. So whenever you, but they also store it and they set it up for you, and they, you know, they do all of that. But with it being a rental, it wouldn't be something that the paddock could participate in. And so we were looking at what would be the benefit to us owning it rather than renting it, because that was a pretty large expense to budget every year. And if you didn't get your budget that year, then we wouldn't have a tree. And so that would be also very difficult. So if you're not interested, that is fine. I just wanted to let you know that this was something else that we were trying to get together for this year, if it's something that we possibly want to look at in the future. But I did want to bring this forward to you.
Not to be the Grinch. It's not that I don't love this gorgeous tree. I don't love our ugly lot. And I'm not convinced this is going to transform that lot. I think we're a few years away, not a lot. We're a couple years away. We've got a few more thriving businesses downtown. We've got some, you know, different areas to consider putting this, more finished type areas. I think it would make a statement. Today, I think it looks like we're trying, and I know y'all are trying, and it's gorgeous, and the things that Allison picked out last year are gorgeous, but I don't feel strongly in support of this yet.
That's perfectly fine. I just wanted to bring it to you.
But that's just my opinion. I think we should vote on this, and is there any other comments before we do?
I think this would be something, again, in the near future, that would be like a wow.
Right.
And if we did it now, it would be more like a So I'm kind of the same with Tori. I'm thinking we're almost there, but not quite ready for this, because it would be really nice to unveil this and have an overall wow.
Right.
Once our giant landscaping, 400,000 or whatever we agreed on, is in place,
Yeah.
and there's a place that makes sense to do this, yeah.
I agree. I think the location, there's no location that I think is better, but that location with the current drainage issues, every year that lot is underwater, and you don't want to have people coming for a downtown tree lighting and standing in open puddles. So, yeah, I think we're not quite there.
Okay. Sounds great.
Is there a motion to approve this, or we want to move on? Okay, thank you. Anything else, any other questions for Raylan in terms of the capital project expenditures that she presented, the way the budget is looking thus far?
Raylan, I did have a question. I see on the budget sheet for fiscal year 2024, I see 150,000 allocated to murals maintenance. Can you expand on that? Is that what's remaining from our previous expenditure?
So the way it was explained to me is y'all did 250 the year before last. And so that this was supposed to be something that was every other year within the budget. And so I didn't put 250 because I think that we've done a good job maintaining. We can absolutely lower that. It's just good to have some funds that we're able to expend when something happens. And so this would not be for new murals. But we can definitely lower that, or if you want to get out of the mural business altogether, we can do that too.
That would be my proposal at this point. I mean, $250,000 is a lot of money by itself. And frankly, I don't know that we've seen, I know there are some that are still coming that aren't done yet that have already been budgeted for, but I just don't know that we've seen our money's worth on that, and I'm
Okay.
not comfortable at this time allocating any more money towards that.
I can make that adjustment, and then I'll bring the final budget to y'all next month. Okay.
140,000 set aside for engineering for complete streets and downtown landscape.
Mm-hmm.
I was under the impression that we would actually be completing a downtown landscape project in 2024.
Yes, so what you have is the $100,000, which would be for complete streets, and then the $40,000 is the remaining design budget. Because we didn't actually use the line item engineering in your 23 budget. So that's down there within the capital improvements. So you've got about 25% of your design services that you will expend this fiscal year. And so I've just budgeted the remaining amount of those design services for '24.
Okay, and then I do see $500,000 for downtown landscape project.
Yes, yes,
Planting in the spring or the fall?
fall.
Okay.
So we are having a kickoff meeting with Kimley Horn next week. And next month, I should be bringing to y'all the plant suggestions for downtown, because they understand we want to plant in the fall. So that is still our goal.
Let's see. So for parks, right now, do we just have 75,000 allocated?
Yes, it was the standard 75,000 that y'all carry over each year. Glenn submitted those cost shares to the city as far as the bridge or any other capital expenses that might come out of the city budget. And so what we would do is bring those to you if those get picked up by the city. So those would be individual requests to you to pull down from cash balance.
Discussions as well about irrigation on the soccer fields. Do y'all remember that? Have we talked about that? Okay. When does this budget get blessed?
The second week in September. No, I'm sorry, the third week in September.
Will we have another meeting before?
Yes, you will. Mhm.
All right. Any other thoughts or questions about the proposed budget as it stands? Next on the agenda, we're to discuss Pena Holdings LLC Development Plan. Raylan?
So I am bringing to you today Mr. and Mrs. Pena to talk to you about their projects that they've had going on downtown. Obviously, we know about the completion of the Lyric Building, and then we also have the Griffith and Anderson Building. I have given you bios for both Lewis and Cynthia. They're at your packet, they're at your seat. Obviously, vast experience in commercial development and real estate and public relations, and I think that they've been incredible community members. You also see in your packet a bio for some of their partners for the new restaurant that they're proposing on the Griffith Place. So what you have in your packet, what you'll see is a complete drawing of the Griffith Building, and then there's also design plans for, the Anderson Building, and then there's design plans also for the Griffith Building. So I was gonna kind of let them talk you through some of what they've done and what they're proposing to do, and then we'll wrap it up. All right.
Welcome.
How are you?
Good.
I guess I have met a lot of you in person, but, we're very excited to be here. We've been here since 2020. By luck, we have a good friend that we're helping acquire a property here in downtown Terrell, and that's when my wife and I fell in love with downtown. And we saw a couple of little properties for sale, and thought it was a great opportunity for us to do redevelopment in downtown. I've been doing commercial real estate and redevelopment for the last 25 years. I started with Henry S. Miller, and worked for them for 7 years. Then I started my own shop. I have done a lot of retail spaces. We own shopping centers. I've had clients that acquire properties, and I represented a lot of clients. But this restaurant, we actually took a long time to do because we had different projects, we had different ideas. We brainstormed a lot with the city and with different partners. And I guess we came up with the idea of having a food hall that will bring a lot of traffic and a lot of people, not just from Terrell, it'll be a destination that will help all the business around town and, you know, bring more traffic and also bring you a closer restaurant to town because you guys have to go to Rockwell or Dallas instead of actually having something local where you can actually enjoy and having a good time, bring your family. And that's what I tried to do, you know, just trying to bring different types of people to the community, revitalize downtown and make it a happy place for everybody. So we are basically trying to, we found a group, hospitality group, and probably going to see their bios in there. A couple of them are from big restaurants that work and have opened new concepts. One of the main guys that put the group together, he owns 10 restaurants, and he actually brought 2 members. Everybody has a different, I guess, brain. So, you know, we bring in different people to do one thing in common. So, you know, I do the real estate. Some of them do the kitchen. Some do, you know, the PR. Some of them do the, you know, marketing. So we're bringing a really nice group to do this. So really what we're trying to do is, you know, the projects, I find out on doing the lyric that it wasn't very simple and it wasn't very inexpensive. And, you know, from my experience and doing other developments, it's just not feasible if you're just gonna be putting money into a property with no tenants or no help. Our budget that we had to redo the lyric building, it went almost 2 times more than what we figured. So it makes it impossible almost for developers if you don't have cash to do those deals. So we are asking, we already spent money in doing a lot of preliminary plans. We have engineering, we're probably gonna be 2 weeks ready to submit plans for the food hall, but we need help. And the help that we need for developers, we pitched this to Raylan, and I guess we talked to her, and we talked to Mike Sims about it. So we had a proposal, I don't know if you saw the numbers on the restaurant, but there is, just to do the restaurant and the food hall, it'll be about $1,165,000, which, you know, we see in other cities, you know, doing things for developers, especially when the city hasn't done any big developments. So we're trying to see if we can get, you know, a loan from the city for the whole amount. And then once the project is completed, then we actually keep 50% of the loan. And, you know, so we pay back 50%. So that's something that, you know, we talked to Raylan and we talked to Mike Sims, so that's something that we're trying to do. And I guess you guys think about that one. We also own the Anderson Building. We're trying to change the concept of the Anderson Building. We're going to change it to City Place. The City Place will include a restaurant in the first floor, 3 floors of apartments, which is going to be about 18 apartments. We have a rooftop that will actually attract a lot of people, and the city could have events there as well. But you were trying to do something unique so people will come. The same group that we're putting together for the restaurant and the food hall, they want to take over every concept that has food into every building that we own. So it's a nice group. The whole idea is controlling, or at least controlling the nicer restaurants in town. To have, because, you know, if you start bringing people from different places, then you cannibalize. So at the beginning, I think if we're spending a lot of money and time redoing something, we want to do it nice, and we want to make sure that everybody's happy, and you guys can bring anybody, and it's, you know, it's going to be Instagram for everybody, you know. So we're going to have a lot of followers. You know, we have a lot of exposure from different places, and it'll be more destination, you know, and we want to make Terrell look strong and beautiful. So, let me see what else. I don't know, you guys have any questions?
I have a question for you on the food hall. So am I understanding the concept correctly that instead of a single restaurant, it's going to be multiple, kind of like Provender or Harvest Hall and Grapevine?
We're gonna have 3 different concepts. We cannot put out many, but it's gonna be controlled by the same group. Usually at the full halls, you have 3 different companies that have the 3 different concepts. So since one of the partners, he's an expert in full halls, we came up with the idea we can just do, it's gonna be a Mexican, but it's no Mexican Tex-Mex like you guys are used to. It's a different Mexican. We're gonna have pizzas, and we're also gonna have hamburgers. So it'll be 3 different things, you know, then the nachos and all that stuff, the complements with different parts. We're also gonna have an outdoor patio. We're trying to get the concert venue on the 2nd floor, like with containers. Those containers are not gonna look like that. My architect just put them like that with those colors, but we're gonna beautify them. I don't know if you've seen some Pinterest pictures of how they do containers, and that's what we wanna do. Make it something nice. We're also gonna put a statue in the middle of the, I guess you see those wings, so people, I have already my artist working on the wings in the front. People will basically go there and just back up to the wings, and you take a beautiful picture for Instagram. So, you know, we want to try to do something unique that nobody's doing. You know, I guess you guys learned, or I learned also from Forney, they did it too quick, and they didn't really plan it. You know, you have a beautiful downtown, you have a lot of things that we can actually work with, and I think this can be a great deal for everybody.
I admire greatly, I'm noticing a theme here with our new downtown businesses. You're taking so much of the risk out of starting a new business by coming up with multiple concepts in one space. That's brilliant. It's starting to be done, but for so long, people would open a coffee shop in a building or a restaurant in a building. If one of these restaurant concepts doesn't do as well as the others, it doesn't cripple the entire business. If coffee doesn't do as well as music shop to start out with, it doesn't cripple the entire business.
Correct.
This other one, if wine bar doesn't do well as their graphic design business, they can still pay the rent. I think taking the risk out of it helps put my mind at ease that we are putting all of our eggs in one basket, but we're really not. I also am excited that an investment this size will help spur business for all of our downtown merchants, because you said it will be a destination. I love that you're bringing, you have marketing expertise, both of you do, but that you're also bringing on additional marketing expertise to reach outside of Terrell to talk about this project. The cohesiveness between the 2 projects being right across the street from each other is not lost on me at all. And I think their popularity will bleed into the businesses around them in a positive way. We have talked about the loan concept as a board, and we need to explore that further because a lot of cities are doing it. We haven't, to my knowledge, but I don't think it's outside of our purview to do. I think it's a good way. Our expectation would be, we give you all the money up front through a construction loan, through construction draws. You can move more quickly.
Yes.
I think that's the benefit in doing this plan. To me, what we have to work through on the back end of that are what are the performance metrics? You know, when do we agree that you get 50% of your money back? When do we agree that, this project is successful and we're ready to do this again for somebody else? Because I think we're opening the door, which is exciting, to do this for other buildings in our downtown district.
And another note, I'm actually have on the contract the 115 Eastmoor. That's the property that has office space in the bottom floor and 6 apartments on the 2nd floor. And we also want to, it's an ugly duckling right now, but we want to make it beautiful. It's beautiful. The building is beautiful. And we want to, beautify every property that we buy. So just to let you know, our interest is to stay here and, try to help the community and as well as you, all of you, to beautify the city. Those are our intentions.
That is huge, because there's been so many rumors circulating around town about, the for lease signs went up, they're out, they're gone. They had a vision, the city didn't support them, that's all over Facebook right now. So I would like to get that word out, and these
Yeah.
pictures out, and this vision out to the community.
And that's basically what we're here. I mean, if we approve one deal, then I can actually go ahead and start saying to everybody, here, this is coming up. And then actually on the windows right now on the Anderson building, which is going to City Place, I want to put, if you guys allow me to put some of the wrap windows that says something good is coming soon, or something like that, like a slogan that, and the windows, something that the windows show, and it looks nice for everybody, even if they're walking, they see the sticker, that is going to look something good instead of just having paper and for lease signs.
While we're clearing the air of rumors, there was also discussion about, initially, we had agreed to 400, I don't remember the, for the Anderson building.
Yeah.
And most recently, there was discussion about, we got the impression that you all would still like that level of contribution, but you might be putting the building up for sale.
Well, this is, I don't think we necessarily want to put the building for sale. The thing is, the building has a lot of asbestos. We already did the study. There's a lot of things that need to happen before, we have already plans, and actually have the engineers, I already got 2 engineers we're picking for the building, just for the structural engineering. But we have bids on we submit to Raylan for the asbestos. We need help on that. We're going to need a lot of help with a lot of things, but, that's probably the first thing we got to do is get rid of the asbestos, and then, so my engineer can go and look at the bones of the building. Without the report, I cannot move forward. So that will be probably the first thing we got to do. I know we had an agreement that we signed in 2020, or the end of 21, but it was something that we agreed in 2020, and everything double or triple cost. So, I mean, whatever we agree before, I think is going to help us at all. Or maybe, I just don't want to, it's like patching a window, Here's $5,000, just buy a new window. But what about the rest of the windows? So we don't want just to patch things. We want to make it last for another 100 years, and, like the mural that we put on the Lyric building, something different, something that will talk, people will have, come back and want to take pictures. And, all the projects that we're doing, we want to make them look the same, just we want to have something iconic in every building that we do. So with your help, we can, I guess, move forward and do better things for all of you guys.
Are these projects going to happen at the same time, or are you about to focus on the restaurant?
Well, this is what I wanted to do which will make it easier for everybody. If I do the restaurant, we can do the Anderson building, and we can do all the windows at the Anderson building, because we also need help for the windows. I already quoted the windows, and they're actually cheaper. I can make them cheaper than anybody else. I have a window guy that, I propose him, he's done all my windows, so he's going to be doing all the windows on site. So to make it less expensive. And I have a budget already. I submitted to Raylan. We can actually beautify those buildings, at least from the outside, so they're not an eyesore for the people that come by to the city. I mean, I put I don't know if you guys saw, but I installed a window just for you guys to look at in the front. And
Lori loves it. She's told everybody.
I'm very fired up about the one window, and I am very excited to see the rest. Well, that building is so heavily composed of windows, and right now,
Yes.
those wood frames are
Oh, yeah.
literally falling apart, and
Yeah.
like the dolls in the window. Fixing that is a high priority for this Paddock board member.
and that's basically, I know that's
We
the,
were just talking about it on the way over here. I said, we need to wrap it. That's horrible. I need to wrap it. And they're not for sale, they're for lease, so we can, if somebody's interested, we can, build the suit. But we're gonna wrap it. It looks horrible. And that was, I told Luis, it's like, we're we're walking through the mall, there's a new store, and then, you know, you see the big cardboard billboard of the lady sitting down, having tea, you know, just, so we're gonna do that, because it does look horrible, and at least, you know, the windows, and then just so it doesn't look like a ghost building, you know, abandoned building, and then little by little, you know, hopefully go inside, but Griffith first, and then get that to not look so horrible on the outside, and then we'll start on the inside.
Yeah. So,
So even with the asbestos, you can put the windows in and not disturb the asbestos, or do you have to do the asbestos before the windows?
no, we can do the windows before we do the asbestos. So
Okay.
Or at the same, well,
My
we have
heart
to do
is in
the
that building
asbestos.
because I was born in that building. So,
No, but you know, we can, the asbestos is not gonna take that long. You know, I can, you know, get all the material done for the windows, and we can get the windows going well. The asbestos, I mean, I know Raylan's husband, I worked with him before, and they can do a great job, you know, pretty fast. And I think we can move forward with that. And also, we probably need help in, I mean, I want to do kind of the same concept in every building that we're doing. You know, the Anderson Building, you know, put a budget for that. I also put a budget for the 115 East Moore, because, you know, the property, all the air conditioners are 20-plus years old. It's gonna need all new windows, it's gonna need new storefront, it's gonna need a lot of, I mean, I don't know, if I might have some remediation that I have to do on asbestos. I haven't done the asbestos report. It might have a little bit, maybe not, because it is some remodeling. It has an old elevator that probably needs a lot of work.
What's the current use of the building?
There used to be an office, you know, it's an office where the First National Bank is, the parking lot.
Awesome.
So I'm acquiring that building that has a parking lot, and the parking lot will also help the New City Place. So we can, you know, do either valet parking and you know, help us just in case we need extra parking.
As you mentioned, the longer we all wait, the more things cost.
What I can do at the same time, I can do all the outside. Anderson, 115 is more, and the same time we'll be working on the restaurant. But I have people that can do, you know, change the windows, paint, air conditioner, on the existing buildings. And while I'm doing, you know, slab, park, roof, metal, I mean, this is gonna be extensive work. But I have people that can do simultaneously all this, because we're in 3 different places. I mean, we're in the same place, in one area.
So, the ask for the food hall is approximately 600,000, I mean, a loan with 50% reimbursement
Correct.
upon CO.
Upon completion, upon getting a certificate of occupancy.
Okay. The ask for the Anderson building right now is what?
They asked for the Anderson building, we asked $4 million for that, and that will take, put a brand-new elevator in the middle of the space with a chute, new stairs, all the new air conditioner, all new plumbing. It's gonna cover probably part of the restaurant and the rooftop, and all the apartments. That property, I put a budget together. I don't know if Raylan shared with you, but I put a financial analysis, and you're gonna see the price increase on the property once it's stabilized. So if you want to, she can share that with you, or I can share that with you.
So is the idea to get the Anderson building stabilized and then hopefully find someone who wants to lease it, your hospitality guy or someone?
Yeah, we have they're committed, they're committed right now to do every project that we do here in Terrell.
Okay. So we're not getting Anderson building to a point of CO.
We're gonna get the Anderson building to a point of CO.
Oh,
The only thing is gonna be the apartments, you know, but I think the apartments can be leased pretty quick.
but $1 million won't,
$4 million.
$4 million.
$4 million.
I follow you. And then on 115 East Moore.
115 is more, we probably, I was suggesting from the beginning, because first I agree on a price with the owner, and then somebody else tried to buy the property around me, and so he jacked up the price, another $150,000. So I'm acquiring the property for $1,150,000. I was asking before, like about $1.5 million, including all remodeling and, changing air conditioners, leave the building to new standards.
Do you envision all of this in the form of a loan, each one a
Correct.
construction loan? Okay, with reimbursement.
With reimbursement, correct.
So can I get, and this is more of a question for Raylan. So at the last meeting, we discussed the 400,000 for the Anderson building. My understanding was just the windows, the asbestos, to just kind of like secure that building. And then, so are we discussing two different loans? Or are we discussing the 400,000, then the loan for the food hall, and then at a later time, we'll consider further loans?
So
Okay.
what he said, everything would be an individual project, looked at separately, separate documents. And so following this, I've got some updates from y'all in executive session from our economic development attorney.
We would secure our loan with your building,
Mm-hmm.
monthly-ish construction draws. What do you think the timeline is?
Well, if the restaurant is going to be, if we submit the plans, I mean, probably get an engineer done in the next couple of weeks. We can submit plans. We probably can open, no later than beginning of the summer next year.
You know there's nothing in that building right now.
Yeah, I know.
You've seen it, right?
I mean, it's challenging, but I'm actually responsible of the construction, and I can move people quickly.
Anderson building is a different animal. What do you think?
It is a different animal. It is a different animal, and it requires a lot of things. But I think the best thing for all of us is spend the $400,000 on new windows and the asbestos. I can get my engineers.
How much?
It's $400,000 that we had agreed before. And then I can get my structural engineers to look at all the bones and see if the whole project is feasible. Because, it might not be feasible. Say, you cannot put an elevator in the middle. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. But at least we have the papers that say something, and we maybe change directions. And instead of doing the rooftop, maybe we just do a restaurant on the bottom floor. We also have 5,000 square feet in the bottom floor that we're thinking about doing speakeasies or different things. We have different ideas to do in that building. The building is beautiful. It has a lot of charisma. It has a lot of, history, which we like to preserve, and we like to actually run and tell different stories. We have talked to a lot of people about, being born in that building or work in that building, or, they went for Christmas in the basement, and they sat down with Santa Claus. So they have good memories on those buildings, and we want to make sure that the younger generations enjoy the building, and maybe have the same kind of stories behind it with their families.
And then 115 East Moore.
115 is more. Our plan on that one is the space in the bottom floor is such a nice space, but it hasn't been capitalized. I think it can be a retail. We thought about putting a bakery. The group that I have, they also have a concept for bakeries. So we might actually end up doing either a bakery, or I can get another tenant that might want to do some type of bakery in that space, and then lease the 6 apartments on the second floor, which they're already leased right now.
So on the Anderson building, have you ever, maybe in your past, have you ever gone in, done some prettying up of the outside, put in the new windows and stuff, have your asbestos, and then have it looked at, and they go, yeah, no?
Yeah, we have people, I brought my engineers, my architects, everybody's looking at everything, but there's some, in the first floor, they have the tin ceilings. We cannot remove the tin ceilings because I think there's a little bit of asbestos there, so I don't want to, I can remove them unless we have the asbestos guys doing it, and then I can see the structure of the building in that area. But most of the floors look okay, but sometimes it's limited space that we can that we can reach, areas where we actually want to look at. But as soon as we get the asbestos report done, I think we can, and the engineer does the work, then we can make a decision on what really is going to be feasible for doing on that building. But our intention is to maximize the use.
Every other meeting I sit in right now for the city of Terrell is talking about distribution centers, tech centers, industrial, that's the growth that's coming. Housetops, yes. But we have got to jump on this train downtown before everything moves out to the interstate. And I can tell you right now, some visionaries like the Pinas do not come through Terrell every day. I cannot think of any developer that has ever come downtown, purchased multiple buildings, taken on 100% of the risk by themselves up to this point. And yes, today we have one building completed, ready to lease, to look at, but the idea that we can visualize this helps, and that you can talk about it, potential intended use helps. I empathize greatly with our downtown businesses who have, been there all this time, supported our town, but when we spent last weekend in Grapevine, there are multiple bakeries, there are multiple coffee shops, and it's a destination. They all seem to thrive. Downtown Louisville,
Yeah.
the same thing. I don't, necessarily want to go to the same bakery every time I need to go to the bakery.
Yeah, and the other thing that, that we vision is bringing apartments in the other side of the railroad track, because that will bring a lot of traffic. And that's the only thing that will save actually downtown is more people. More walking traffic. Like a lot of cities are doing more urbanization, which, trying to bring more density into the cities, because a lot of after they open a lot of the big stores like Walmart, a lot of smaller businesses died, and, businesses where you guys actually grew up with, you took your kids or your grandkids, or you have good stories in all of those little businesses, and that's what we're trying to get back, But we want to do something that is nice for everybody, and, you enjoy going over there, and, just tell your neighbors and tell your family, let's go and have a hamburger, or let's go and grab a margarita, because I come here, I bring clients, or I bring potential investors, and they say, where is the restaurant? Where are we going to go eat? And, I used to take them to the taqueria next to the Cowboy, the property that you bought, because they were good tacos, but I couldn't find anything else. So we had to go to Dallas or other places. But, you guys have so much beauty here that I guess we need to take advantage of it and, just do the right thing and make those properties come back alive.
Another thought. Y'all being we have some landlords downtown that haven't met our expectations of maintaining their buildings. I see potential in the future for landlords that do see the vision for downtown Terrell, for some of our tenants to move from the building that they're in into a building where the landlord sees vision and is willing to invest in the rooftop and the air conditioning and the plumbing. And I think as we transition that downtown, now on the other hand, we've had a lot of discussion on this board of what that's going to do to rent prices. And that, I think gives some of our small business owners anxiety. But I think at some point, there may come a time where we can help with that for fledgling businesses with a great idea that need some, rent supplementation to get them up and going before they're a thriving business and able to cover the rent of a beautiful new space. But for now, we've got to do something about the buildings themselves. That's the stage we're in.
And, you guys can use me. I have 25 years of experience, and I traveled to 40 countries in the world, and my wife and I just for fun, and, we like to see new ideas. We bring ideas all the time, and, you can use me. If you need ideas for the parks, or ideas for the streets, ideas for lighting, or, I'm very resourceful. So if you need services, you can use my subs. I refer the mayor, a couple of my subs, to help up his house. So you can use me. ask me, call me, you know, we are always happy to, you know, brainstorm and, you know, sit down with you and, you know, come up with ideas. We like to be included into what you guys are doing, you know, maybe we all share ideas and, you know, things come out better when you regroup and do nice ideas.
Thank you for your time today. Any more comments or questions?
I have a comment for the board. I just want to encourage us, because even though we didn't participate in the Lyric building, the costs of that, we have, as a board, discussed so much who the tenant's going to be, what the business is going to be that goes into the building. But I think the Lyric is a perfect example and an encouragement to us, because the imaginary line spaces and what they have planned there is exactly the kind of thing that my mom and I go to Granbury on a girls' trip and go, why doesn't Terrell have this? And like, we're getting it. It is a plan on a piece of paper and I can see it. And so I think, you know, that's an encouragement for us as a board on these buildings, that we have found out just how much that takes. Once you get the building to a certain point, the tenant is gonna take care of itself. And like, we're already seeing movement with the kind of things that we wanna have. And I love your shift to the food hall, because I think that that's something that's so unique that is becoming a thing, but none of the surrounding towns have that. And so I think that that's also very important for us to kind of have the leading edge on stuff. So I appreciate y'all's vision. And I think as a board, if we can just hold on, we are gonna get there.
I don't see, it's on our agenda today to take action, but Raylan, I do think we would like to take action, next month at our meeting? Okay. Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Pena, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, at this time, we are going to adjourn into executive session in accordance with Section 551 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. Economic development negotiations. We'll excuse our guests and resume shortly. back on. All right, this time we will reconvene into regular session. We would consider action, but there was none, only discussion. And are there any final comments before we adjourn? All right, thank you to our guests for being here. We'll adjourn.